Some of the most incredible stories in sports are hidden in the most obvious places. Sometimes they're hiding right there on the back of a jersey. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of those stories, a tale of incredible sacrifice from one of the greatest football teams of all time.
So here's the mystery. If you know football, you know the Brazil number 9 jersey is legendary. It's for the goal scorer, the star striker. But in the 1994 World Cup, it was worn by a midfielder, Zinho. So, what gives? How did a hard-working midfielder end up with the most famous striker's number in the world? Well, the answer starts, as it so often does, in a moment of absolute crisis.
Okay, picture this. It's 1993, and Brazil, the footballing superpower, is on the verge of not qualifying for the World Cup. I mean, for the first time ever. Can you imagine? The pressure is just insane. And it all comes down to one last game at the legendary Maracanã Stadium, a do-or-die match against Uruguay. You win, you're in. You lose, and the unthinkable happens.
So with their backs completely against the wall and another key player out injured, the team makes a desperate call. They bring back the one and only Romario. Now this guy was a genius, probably the best player on the planet at the time, tearing it up for Barcelona. But let's just say he wasn't the easiest guy to manage, which was why he'd been kicked off the team in the first place. But now he was their last hope.
And this is where things get really interesting. See, Romario was incredibly superstitious. For him, wearing his lucky number 11 jersey wasn't just a preference, it was a necessity. So he goes to the coach, Parreira, and asks for it. But the coach does something smart. He puts the ball in someone else's court. He says, "You gotta ask Zinho." If he says yes, it's all yours. And just like that, the superstar of the team has to go ask his teammate for a favor.
Zinho's response, years later, just stops you in your tracks. When he was asked about that moment, he just said, "I had much bigger problems than a jersey number." Whoa! Suddenly, a simple squabble over a shirt number becomes something else entirely. What on earth could be more important than this game? The game that would define their careers?
Well, you see, during this whole insane, high-pressure qualifying campaign, Zinho was carrying this unbelievable personal weight on his shoulders, a secret that he kept hidden from almost everyone, his coaches, his teammates, a burden no one could see.
This was Zinho's reality. His mother had suffered a massive stroke. She was paralyzed down one side of her body. She couldn't speak. He had literally turned his own home into a hospital for her, with a proper hospital bed and 2 nurses providing around-the-clock care. So on his days off, when other players were resting, he was at home, carefully feeding his mother soup. And only 2 guys on the whole team, his roommate Bebeto and his buddy Jorginho, had any idea this was going on.
So let's just put this side by side for a second. On one hand, you've got Romario, the best player in the world, worried about his lucky number. On the other hand, you have Zinho, a son under unimaginable stress, worried about his mother's basic survival. It just puts everything into perspective, doesn't it? The game suddenly seems so small.
So when Romario comes to him asking for the jersey, what does Zinho do? He doesn't hesitate for a second. He basically tells him, "Roma, man, take it. You're going to score the goals. We're going to qualify. I just want to play. I just want to help the team." It was the ultimate team-first move. No ego, just complete focus on the mission.
And what happens next is almost poetic. It's like karma or fate or whatever you want to call it. That selfless act pays off big time. Wearing his number 11, Romario goes out there and puts on an absolute masterclass. He scores not one, but both goals in a 2-0 win. Brazil was going to the World Cup, all because of a quiet, selfless decision in the locker room.
And the story gets even better. Zinho kept that number 9 jersey for the whole World Cup. He wasn't just a bench warmer either. He played in every single game of that tournament. And he became a world champion, lifting that famous trophy, all while wearing the striker's number, a constant, visible reminder of the sacrifice that got them there in the first place. Tragically, right after the qualifiers ended, Zinho's mother passed away. And that's when the rest of the team finally understood. Not because he told them, but because they saw the news and showed up at her funeral to support him. Imagine that moment of realization, when it all clicked. That's what he had been carrying that whole time.
This whole story just makes you think, doesn't it? What really makes a champion? Is it just the goals you score or the trophies you win? Or is it found in that quiet strength, in the selfless things you do for the people around you when no one is watching? It's just a powerful reminder that behind every number on a jersey, there's always a human story.